swirling. And there we
Broadcast
go. Right.
is live.
Broadcast is live indeed. Evening, gents. Hope you're all well.
Hi, everyone.
And to anybody who's watching, or either live or recorded, here we are, and we're back again. So, gents, how are we all doing? How are we all doing? Nick, how about you, buddy? How are you getting on? What have you been up to? It's all gone quiet over there.
Nick?
Yeah, I thought it was me. My question. I haven't been up too much. I mean, basically, I had too much work lately and still have. I got my 10 MMs, my wonderful 10 MMs from my friend Simon. That were really good. I have to say to you that, and that's about it. Nothing much. We'll talk about the sizes afterwards. Just for the prologue now, I'm very impressed with the size. These sizes I was not expecting, but we'll discuss this later today. But nothing much. Mostly working and some gaming, and obviously your narration, guys, that I'm making as
I finally got around to doing.
Sorry, carry on, Leon. You finally got around to doing
the narration for Nick.
Oh,
how long was that? How late was I?
No later than me, really.
Where did you send it, Leon?
I've sent it to your Facebook Messenger. You should have it there. Okay. You listened to it, didn't you?
Okay.
You said it was all right.
Okay, that was it. Okay, sure. I didn't get it. Yeah, sure.
Yes. Good evening, Nick Games. Good evening. So how about you, Neil? What have you been up to?
I've had a bit of a hiatus, so I haven't done any hobby at all for ages. So I've been quite looking forward to getting back onto this, so I can actually get some painting done.
Ah, marvelous.
But at the moment, I'm working on Epic.
Oh yeah, the Warlord game stuff.
Yeah, lifeguards I'm doing.
How do you find those? Because I've seen the freebies they've done on the front cover of magazines, and I used to be a massive fan of 15mm, you know, just slightly bigger than them years ago. But I don't know really. I'm undecided. I don't like the all linked together in a strip look. To be fair,
you don't, or you do?
I don't.
All right, cool. Well, I must admit, at first I didn't like that, but when you see them all together in a unit, it kind of makes sense with them all being shoulder to shoulder.
I suppose a bit like Nick was saying with the mass effect of its 10 MMs.
10 mils, yeah. Because I think if you did them in 28mm shoulder to shoulder like that, it probably wouldn't look quite so good. But with these little guys, I quite like it, I must admit.
Fair enough. Well, as for me, I've been one of the reasons why my output onto my you do excuse the dog barking in the background. She's a bit excited. My daughter's just come back from a week's holiday, and another daughter's just come home with a friend of hers as well. So lots of things for dogs to get excited about, apparently. Anyway, but no, I've actually been doing a lot of actual gaming rather than sitting and painting, and thus the output onto my YouTube channel hasn't been quite as regular as it has been previously. But you know, plans are afoot to get that back on track. But yes, actually lots of fair bit of rolling dice, including dipping my toe back into 40k for the first time in 9th edition, for the first time for a long time. Lots of Napoleonic gaming with Black Powder, with big massive participation games at my local games club, and then painting 10mm models for Sunflower in Greece.
See, I'd much rather be gaming than painting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I just see painting as an evil that you have to put up with so that you can game.
I like them all equally. At the risk of sounding like I'm so wedged on the fence, I've got splinters up my backside. I just like it all, really. I'm in that Venn diagram sweet spot in the middle of painter, gamer, collector. You know, I like it both. I must say though, whilst the visual spectacle of those big multiplayer games with loads of models per side is great, in terms of the gaming experience, I prefer it just 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, slightly smaller games, not on just, you know, like mano a mano sort of thing, as opposed to the big participation games. So the social aspect of that is obviously.
Yeah, I like doubles.
Yeah.
So you've got somebody to bounce off, and the There's four of
Yeah.
you there at the table. You can have a good laugh. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I prefer that to singular gaming, I must admit. But again, I'm the same as you, Simon. Anything bigger than doubles, and it starts to annoy me because you tend to spend a lot of time doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean those games that you've seen on my channel, for those of you who haven't, folks, have a look at my channel, Bitesized Wargaming. There's a few photos of models and so on there, and like a slideshow video of a Napoleonic Black participation, mass participation game I took part in. That was at my games club, and it was great from a social point of view. But every now and again, it's like, right, it's my go now, and you do your bits, and then wait for half an hour for the rest of your side to move their models, and then it's next turn. And it's just, it lost a little. The actual gaming lost it. The social aspect of it all, and the visual spectacle of all these beautifully painted Napoleonic models spread out across the table was great, but lost a little.
Yeah, that's what I think. It loses a bit, doesn't it, in translation? You have to drink lots of beer.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. In the looking in the chat, well, we go. Crossing Obstacles Gaming says, I play big participation games, never enjoyed any of them, rather play one-on-one. Well, I'm somewhere near that opinion myself, although perhaps doubles, as like you mentioned, Leon, would be a good crack.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I do play one-on-one quite a lot, but yeah, if the option's there to have a game of doubles, I'll do that all day long.
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I prefer one-on-one if I can do it. I haven't played with someone, except online. I have to tell you, online gaming with you controlling the table is deadly. I lose. I don't know. I'm exhausted at the end of the game, going around and playing for two. It's really exhausting. But I think more than two, it's becoming a bit of a too many people and everybody talking and losing control. But I tell you the truth, I did a lot of painting. I'm hoping from 2000, let's say 2005. So I did a lot of painting using my armies. I
was going to say, the amount of models you got, Nick, a lot of painting.
Yeah.
And I was painting because I wanted, as Leon says, I wanted to play. So I did huge amounts of painting. I was very committed. I was single. I was not married, and my free time I used to do this. I reached a point now that I can't be bothered at all, and I've reached a point at my work that I can afford commission. So I think that I won't paint again. I will obviously at a point just for fun, but there were a couple of miniatures now. I ordered some from Claymore, the new ones. I want to paint them myself. But I'm tired of painting. I'm tired. I'm painting since I was high school because I was an architect and I had to paint. But then miniatures, I'm painting from 2000, 15 mm, 28 mm, Essex, Claymore, Perry. I'm tired. I want a game.
Yeah, if I could afford it.
Sorry to embarrass you, but your narration is 1 point something minutes. Something is wrong here. You have to check it again.
My narration?
Yeah, your narration you sent me is 1 point something minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole pack, the whole Autobahn battle. I mean,
is there more? I've only done one part then. Brilliant. Okay, I'll
you can't get the staff these days, can you?
Just can't get the staff, no.
Blimey.
And these are the armies you can see. If I say about the scale, guys, can I start about the scale?
Yeah, sure, mate.
These are the 10 mm. I don't know if you can see them.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah, it's on the screen, mate.
Now I have 10 now. I have 15 and I have 28. Obviously, I'm a 28 fan, and obviously, after so many years, I have 28 mm and have space back home to make a big battle. But look at this, even in this still image in this camera image, the effect that this 10 mm creates is extraordinary. In a small table, 80 by 80, this effect, even with my 28 mm that I have 2,000 miniatures, I cannot make. It is extraordinary, and it's easy to move, it's easy to play. There are rules there for 10 mm, and you can use any kind of rule if you're flexible enough to divide the distances. I haven't seen. I was extremely impressed with the whole feeling that the 10 mm are giving to. I mean, if you see, it's extraordinary. I mean, look at this cavalry. It's like actually a huge number of knights charging you. I mean, you get this mass effect that don't you get easily with any other type.
No, I must admit, when I was watching Simon's videos of him painting them, and I thought to myself, they actually look a lot better than I thought they would. There's a lot of detail on them.
I'd say so, but it was quite simple to bring that detail out, though, at that scale. Whereas bringing out detail on a 28mm model, you know, it takes a bit more talent and a bit more time. Whereas on these, yes, it's great the amount of detail on something that's damn tiny, but it's relatively straightforward to bring out. And that, obviously, before we crack on, that's a nice intro into one of our topics tonight, isn't it? Because we're going to be discussing scales. For those of you, I mean, there are people I know are very ardent to one scale in particular, wouldn't vary away from it. But I think scales, it's not just a matter of preference to the models, but also, like Nick, in your case, you wanted the 10mm stuff because of the space where you're currently temporarily staying for work and so on, don't you? So it has its benefits in that regard.
That's true. The space is very important. I mean, back home, I have a bigger house. I have a very big table, 6x6. I have the space down in the basement, and you know, my 28s. I can play with them. I'll deploy them. I have no issue. But when you have a confined space and you're not a skirmish player, and you like this mass effect, I mean, I can zoom in. You can see more. I will move the camera. The feel you get, I mean, I am really impressed. When Simon was painting them, I liked them. We were basing them, and he was showing me the bases, and we decided to put 10 in every base and 5 mounted. They looked okay. They looked good. But obviously, you cannot have a feel at how they look until you see them. When Simon was telling me they give this mass effect. Well, then I got them and I deployed them and I played also. And I took some photos. Now, if you see from the camera from far away, I mean, to achieve this with 28s or even 15s, but with 28s, let's say, I have to deploy all my 2000 miniatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The feel you get, and this is the same you have also with yours, Leon. That's why I was extremely impressed with the Epic, and I've seen a couple of videos. The feel you get of being a general and of commanding, you know, it brings you closer, let's say, if I can say this word, to reality, because even with 15mm, what you base, you put 3 in a DBX or 4 or 5 miniatures maximum. Here you put 10, 15, you put them together. They look really amazing all together. The effect
you're getting that big army feel, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, looking at that particular camera shot now, Nick, of your models there, looking down along the line as opposed to directly at them front on, although either or would do, but particularly the French side, the one on the right there of the model, it just looks great, doesn't it? You just got all the knights charging forward, their flags waving, and the English archers awaiting them across the other side of the table and so on. It just, as you say, the en masse effects, especially in a photo or still image like that, it does look very good.
Yeah, it does look really impressive. And this is why I've gone to this Epic scale from 28mm, just because of space.
How big is the Epic? It's 10mm or 15?
About 12 and a half, I think.
Yeah, 13.5.
Okay, so it's in between. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not quite 15, but it's certainly bigger than 10.
Yeah. But although some 15mm ranges do fit with it.
Yeah, especially the older sorts as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
When I've got actually on the as whilst we're talking about smaller scales, as people who watch my channel know, I'm quite a 28mm fan myself. Although I used to really like 20, and I still do 20mm World War II stuff like rapid fire. But back in the day, he says, making himself sound like a right old fart. Back in the day, I used to be a massive 15mm fan. I used to play DBA for Ancients. I used to do Seven Years War stuff with Prussians in 15mm. I think I probably brought shares in Essex miniatures because the number of
because you had that many of them.
Exactly. But I hadn't painted 15mm stuff for a long time because I sort of got out of it, especially when there was a lot more plastics and therefore affordable 28mm models around. I've sort of gone that route. But just recently, I was on my way back from one of those big Napoleonic participation games with a couple of older fellas who, like me, have been around a bit for a while, wargaming wise, and they're fans of 15mm. And I was talking to them about 15mm. ACW is not a period I've played for a long time. I used to have a big Dixon Miniatures 25mm collection years ago. But they were talking to me about a particular Peter Pig set, or no, a Lardy's set of rules called Couldn't Hit an Elephant or something. And I didn't quite glowing terms, so I looked at it and I looked at some images online, and I brought myself some ACW 15mm stuff, some from Essex and some from Peter Pig, simply to I haven't painted 15mm models for a long time. I fancy having a go, and yeah, so far I've just painted a couple of stands worth of infantry and cavalry, and it's brought back a few. Gosh, I remember having to do this before and what have you. Yeah, but I shall carry on exploring that when I've got time. But it's that's now my.
Have you seen Stig's latest video with his ACW?
Oh, he does 10mm stuff for that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've not actually. I have seen some of his 10mm stuff before, but I haven't paid a lot of attention to it which I should do really, because I like Stig's painting.
It's lovely, that army that he's got both Confederates and.
Is it Pendragon he's
Union.
used?
I think it is Pendragon, but I wouldn't put money on it. But I think you could be right there.
Fair dude. No, we looked at them, but it was Lancashire games that we went for your 10mm stuff, wasn't it, Nick?
Explain with his camera.
He's cinematographing.
For me, I mean, I really understand that now the appeal of smaller scales. For the guys that were saying before, obviously, even if I was painting, I could paint them. I'm pretty sure it would be impossible. I mean, my limit would have been 15mm. So, and I'm used to painting 28, so it's quite different 10mm. Obviously, Simon is very talented for this, and you, Leon, as well. But I understand the appeal now. I understand why I was reading in these groups that, try them. They're amazing. You feel like they're real general. You feel like you have a proper army on the battlefield. There are some really good rule sets out there for many. I mean, you can adopt any type of rule. And again, for me, it's very important. I mean, you see this, and seriously, this mass battle of, I don't know how many, 50, 60, 70, 80 bases or around 500 miniatures, and it's on a table of 60 centimeter by 1 meter. You know what I mean? I can play. My problem was that unless I was at home, when I was in my game room down the basement, was here at work, I had to take the table out, deploy them, play. After a couple of hours, I was tired, and I had to move them again because my space was not enough. Now I have this small table, I put it in the corner, I continue tomorrow, after tomorrow, or the next weekend. And it's really convenient, except of course that really they're really beautiful, and they really portray perfectly a mass battle, if you like those kinds of things.
How big is that table area we're looking at there on that camera shot then, Nick?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go again.
How big is that table area we're looking at on that camera shot there?
It is, I'll tell you how much it is. It is 60 centi, the width, and around 1 meter the length.
So 60 by 1 meter.
Well, it's basically 80 by 120, but the mat I have here is 60 by 1 meter. Yeah. And
Cool.
So basically, then not a big area, but it looks like a big battle simply because of the scale of the models. So that's for you, Nick. That's a win-win whilst you're away from home in your flat there, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously, but that's the reason I tried, and I mean, first of all, for me, I have to like the miniatures. Now you'll tell me, so small miniatures. If you see the videos of the showcase I did, and I zoomed them close, you can see that the miniatures have character. They're not blunt. They have. I mean, Simon can tell you more because he painted them. But even when I was just looking at them, they have character. They're not blunt. They're not just pieces of metal that don't have a shape or something like that. You can paint them properly. You can paint coat of arms as Simon did. You can paint the breastplate and leave other colors for the remaining parts of the plate. So they look quite good. They look very good for 10mm. This I think it's Lancashire Games miniatures.
That's it. Yep.
And obviously the flags in any battle, especially in any army, but especially medieval armies, crusader armies, feudal armies, they give they add a lot to the visual aspect.
It really sticks out actually in that the French half of that picture, as well as the mass cavalry. The flags all flying really makes that stick out. Really,
it looks lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm waxing lyrical here about what is ultimately my own handiwork, but it just looks good.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll go any smaller than.
No,
definitely not.
No. But I tell you something. I was very impressed. That's why I started thinking of this. I was very impressed from Leon's videos when he was painting his epic. When he started painting them and putting them together, it was because I've seen Napoleonic battles, and obviously you have a very, very big battlefield and a very, very big table. They look fine. They look great, like any big table. But when Leon was putting them and was showcasing them on his drawing table, and he was putting 10 or 15 bases together, immediately it looked amazing. It looked realistic. It looked more like a proper Napoleonic battle would have been. And that was influenced me, from Leon and asking him. And then I thought, why not try them? Because when Leon was showcasing these Napoleonics together, they looked amazing.
Well, I'm going to get all of mine out.
It's quite popular. Sorry to interrupt, but you carry on.
I was just say I'm going to get all mine out next week and do a video of them, so you'll be able to see the mass effect.
Oh wow! Look forward to that then. Yeah, I might try it because my local games club at the Games Bunker in Western Supermare, as well as being a shop which does sell a lot of Warlord stuff. Obviously, it's Games Club, but it does, like I say, it does sell a lot of Warlord stuff. And I don't know whether it's because I think I've not seen lots of people playing it, but I know the proprietor Jim. He's quite keen on the models, and he's been painting a lot of them lately. I don't know really. I wouldn't mind giving it a go, but when I've already got like a 28mm Napoleonic collection, I'm loath to start the same period in a different scale. Really, so I might perhaps give the ACW because they've just not so much relaunched it, but repackaged some of it and brought out a few new bits and pieces for that, because that was the first one they brought out. Although I do hear that they are going to be bringing out either English Civil War or Ancients in that particular scale. Seeing as
that's what I've heard as well. But you're going to get either.
It's one of these. I've heard the rumours. I can't remember where.
I don't know what's going to be first. It came from their interview on their open day.
Oh yes, that's it.
And they did say they're going to do both, but
I'd be keener on the English Civil War out of that, for the similar reason about the Napoleonics and registers.
Yeah, I think it'd be the perfect scale for English Civil War.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
because
having a go.
The units are big, aren't they?
Yeah, you can just think of the effect of a mass block of pike.
Oh yeah, it's going to look awesome.
Absolutely.
But I hope they don't bring it out too soon, because I've got to paint all these first.
That's true. Talking of as a slight diversion from our discussion on scale, did you guys watch a lot of that? The Warlord Open Day and some of the interviews and so on that came out of that?
No.
No, I had
Not very helpful.
despite warnings from my friend Jim, who runs the Games Bunker that I play at. I watched the Rick Priestley interview about the changes to Hail Caesar because they're bringing out a new, just a tweaked version of that. And I admire Rick's skill. I like the interview you did with him years ago, Nick. But by God, he can talk. Oh dear.
No, I didn't watch any of them. So
you got to admire the man's history in the game and what he's achieved. And I really, like I say, Nick, that interview you did with him years ago, I really enjoyed that. I rewatched it again relatively recently. But that chat with him talking about changes to Hail Caesar, I was like, oh dear. Oh, please stop talking, Nick. Can we have a Reader's Digest first?
I guess he waffled on a bit too much then.
Yes, just a touch.
Just a tiny bit.
One thing I'll say about Warlord games, I like their models and things, but sometimes their rule books are really poorly organized. Beautiful pictures and nicely explained rules, but where's that rule? I'll just look up in the index. Ooh, what index?
Did you ever play Dystopian Wars?
No, but lots of friends of mine did and spoke highly of it. I looked at the models and thought,
the game was fine, but the rule book, wow.
Oh dear, it was a bit.
It's worse than Hail Caesar or anything like that. It's. You could spend an hour looking up a rule.
I took one look at the models and I thought, that's not for me, that game. I thought it was very, amongst a few friends of mine about 10 years or so ago, it was very, very popular.
Yeah, but, I liked it. Once you eventually played it a few times and you knew the rules and you didn't have to look them up anymore, it's actually a good game.
Cool.
But when you first play it...
The game that I play the most often and have a couple of chaps, although I play at a club where I can potentially play somebody different every week, is Bolt Action. And even though I've done a lot of the big Napoleonics and things, and so that's the rule book I find myself thumbing through quite regularly. Oh, God, I wish I had an index. Oh Lord! But other than that, good game.
I used to play Bolt Action a lot. I used to go to a lot of tournaments, but kind of just stopped. When they brought out the second edition, I kind of fell out of love with it.
Really? What made you say that?
I didn't like the introduction of the templates.
Okay.
And there were just a couple of other little tweaks, and I thought, do you know what? It was better before they tweaked it. So I just stopped playing it. Fair
enough. I mean, there are other games you can play. I mean, for example, what's that? I forget. There's another 28mm or could be played with 28mm game that was quite popular a while ago. A lot of people are playing O Group at the moment. They're using 15, aren't they?
Yeah. Again, I think 15s probably works better for World War II as well.
No, I'm a big. Whilst we're talking about scale,
I lost you there.
Yeah, you're frozen on my screen. Actually, I know you're back. There you go.
Oh, weird.
But, yeah,
I'm going to keep doing that now.
But 20mm was a big bastard. 20mm was a big thing of mine for World War II gaming. Rapid fire, great game. It was that going back. What we now 2020, so going back about 25 years or so. 30, well, not quite 50 years, but rapid fire was probably the game I played most often. Well, just something about 20.
It's just easy as well, isn't it?
Exactly. So cheap. You rock up and buy an Airfix tank and a bottle of Airfix models, and away you go. If you really want to.
It's 1/72, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it for me as a scale. Whilst we're, like I say, talking about scales, whilst 28mm has got all the detail on models. I mean, for example, one thing I've been painting this week is a German. I can't really see the lighting in here. It's a bit crap, really. I'll put a picture on my channel at some stage. But German Nebelwerfer. And,
yeah.
Yeah,
worth Nobles.
Indeed, I can verse some Nobles at my friend Jake's next week. But the 20mm as a scale for World War II gaming, the vehicles were small enough to be a bit more portable and get a bit more of a mass effect, but still big enough to see plenty of detail, and you can get to grips with the modelling of it. I've got quite a few Shermans to my Brits and Americans, and they're cracking models. The Raventhorpe ready to roll resin models. They're cracking, absolutely great. And Plastic Soldier Company do some lovely stuff as well.
Yeah, they do. to do, definitely.
Actually, talking of them, and whilst we're all talking about scales, Lee over at Battle Bunker HQ, he did a video. Probably, I think it was because I requested. He brought the models. Plastic Soldier Company did some medievals in 50 mil, and I think Nick, they were the redoing in plastic of the old Corvus base.
Really?
Yeah, some of them, yeah, they are, yeah. Well, it's not
50.
plastic; it's that weird resin stuff.
Yes, exactly. It's looks a bit odd. And it was a bit, there was a little bit of flash on it, but I remember when I first saw one of your 15 mil showcases, Nick, and I think, oh god, that made me a bit nostalgic for all my 15 mil gaming from when I was a young man. The ancients and other things, but and also I've got a growing 28 mil medieval, so I don't want to do too much scale.
Yeah.
But
and you're
Corvus,
improving your medieval army also, your 100 Years War army. You're fixing a good one, good Scottish army.
indeed. But the
I'm going to
15
drop
mil
out. I'll be
stuff.
back in 2 minutes.
Okay, let's talk about what's he's gone. But yeah, no, those Corvus belly models, Nick, that you got on one of your 15 mil show. Impressed with those, and of course, sadly unavailable. But then, like I say, they appear to have been relaunched in the form of plastics, or that funny resin plastic.
Yeah. I saw them. They're good.
Sorry?
They're not bad. They're good. I think they're very close to the metal one. I don't think they have. I mean, they're plastic, obviously, but figure-wise, they look good, I think.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, like I say, when Lee at Battle Bunker HQ had said he brought something, I bothered him to do an unboxing, and I think he credited me with the reason behind kicking his ass to do it at the start of that video. But were I not the owner of quite a few 28 mil medieval 100 Years War models, I would certainly look at that and consider it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, it's for me one advantage I had always in my gaming. Well, advantage, let's say for my case, it was focus. I liked something, and that we discussed this many times, and I followed it. I like 100 Years War, and I tried to expand my armies and make them as big as I could. You tell me if I go to another period, I have to commit myself again 4 or 5 years because I don't like small battles. So I won't enjoy making 5 or 10, 2 or 10 or 15 or 20 bases of, let's say, period. I like Vikings. I like Dark Ages. I would love to do the Battle of Hastings or to do Crusades, do the Kingdom of Jerusalem with Holy Orders and belling and rebelling against the Saracen armies of Saladin. I love this period, obviously, because I like medieval. But if you tell me to start from now, I need to commit myself to make, at least big armies that I will enjoy. So I don't know how easy it will be for me to move to something else. But you never know.
Yes, indeed. I think Leon's having trouble getting back on, so I'll just sort him out again for a minute. But talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Yeah.
But
so what we have here, we have Healthful Wargames. Yes, my friend who likes the campaign video will discuss about campaigns later. Now, Night Spear says they redid DW, but it's not seen many people playing it. I don't know. DW is what is.
Yeah, I was wondering about that actually. As I see Ken, the eccentric man, he's agreed with what I was saying about bolt action needing an index.
Bolt action is with tanks.
Oh, it's a 28 mil World War II game, so infantry or tanks.
It has also troops.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Warlord Games thing. Their 28 mil stuff. So
yeah, no.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game. I enjoy it. Actually, it's one of those. It's one of those games that's got an interesting mechanic that makes it stand out. Like, is it To the Strongest? It's got the grid system.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's something like that, you know, an interesting mechanic that makes it stand out from the crowd. It's bolt action's got that thing with the dice, so you draw out a dice out the bag. Oh, it's a grey dice. It's one of yours, Simon. And you know give the whichever so that drawing the dice out the bag to see whose turn it is, and you activate a unit from your army depending on what dice comes out the bag, as opposed to just your go, my go, go, my go. So I quite like that as a mechanic, actually. I think there's a few game systems, possibly even 40k, that could benefit from something like that. That might be quite fun. I mean, Leon, you played a lot of 40k. What would you think about a bolt action style turn mechanic like that in 40k?
I think it'd work quite well in 40k. Because one of the problems, I can't get my camera to work properly now. One of the problems with 40k is a lot.
Oh, he's gone.
Yes, I just go and buy a laptop, 100 euro, and use it. For God's sake, buy a laptop. I told him so many times.
But as for what you were saying just now, Nick, about trying a different period, having to commit yourself for 5 years, you don't have to do that. You just have to send it to me and pay me.
Yeah, that's that's true. But the size that I want, you have to stop your job. You know.
That's all right. I'll just charge you appropriately.
We'll discuss it. That's a good offer. We'll discuss it. I'm tempted.
Yeah, just like I say, just send the money straight to David Imrie, I think.
Yeah. Well,
oh dear. So would it be like Dark Ages stuff you would be looking into if you were going to do a different period, would it?
Sorry about that.
I told you 100 times. Buy a laptop, my friend. Buy just a cheap laptop and use it as a camera. For God's sake.
I've got
the
a
last
laptop.
10 years, I'm telling you this.
I've got a laptop, but the battery's terrible on it. It's a MacBook, so I can only be online for about an hour, and then the battery dies on me.
Can't you plug it in?
I could do that, but I haven't got a plug very close to me.
Right, that's all. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. We're starting a GoFundMe to get Leon an extension lead.
Yeah.
Do you have extensions in UK?
Yes.
No, if I go for Dark Ages, now you're asking, Simon. I like this. I mean, I think there is one company, one brand that is famous for Dark Ages. I forget the name now. You must know it for sure. It's quite famous. They do good Dark Ages finishes.
Victrix?
Footsore.
Yeah, I like that stuff actually.
Yeah, so if I go for Dark Ages, I mean, I would probably do I would love to do an Anglo-Saxon and Norman army that you can play Hastings or whatever in the future. I would go for Footsore. Yeah, I like them a lot.
Yeah. I think for me, Dark Ages and Normans, Anglo-Saxons and things, and obviously you're well known for your 100 Years War stuff. For me, I'd be in between. I'd like to do like early medieval and Baron's War, Richard de Lionheart, King John, that sort of thing. You know, William Marshall. That's
that's amazing. The problem with this, the problem with this period was that they were not miniatures, but now you have this Baron War minis, and obviously there is a Wargames Foundry has very nice minis for Baron Wars.
Yes.
And they have really good minis, and you can. And the good thing with Baron Wars is that you can make a really interesting campaign in England. You know, moving armies left and right. You have the Montfort and his barons, and then you have Edward I, and then Edward II, Edward III. So it makes us a good campaign inside England. Baron Wars, I think.
Flags of War had just done a Kickstarter for Baron's War, haven't they?
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they sent me some models to paint. Ian sent me a few models. I painted them up for him.
Oh, wow. Well, at what scale?
28s.
28, okay.
But you only need 28s for Baron's War, don't you, really? Because it's only...
Yeah, relatively small engage. That's one of the reasons, actually. I mean, circling back round to our discussing scales and reasons why different scales may or may not be appropriate. That's one of the reasons why, even though I have precious little experience in actually playing it, why American War of Independence is one of my favourite periods, and I love 28s in it, simply because relatively small compared to, you know, battles in the 7 Years' War or the Napoleonic shortly after it. In terms
and
of
you don't need much cavalry.
Exactly. You don't need much cavalry.
which is always a
fun,
bonus.
fun with the scenery in terms of the forests and stuff, and relatively small battles compared to the European theatre at the same sort of time. So
yeah, and the uniforms are nice as well.
yeah, I'm a big fan. I always used to have a thing about tricorn hats, which is why I'm looking at David Imrie's new 7 Years' War in 28mm. I'm thinking, oh God, I fought in a huge Prussian army in 15mm years ago. I don't want to do that again in a bigger scale. I mean, most of David Imrie's stuff is shut up and take my money, but it's it's no. I shall resist and just look on admiringly. I think in this instance.
For now.
Shush. Thank you. One advantage of having my my eldest daughter back from her little trip to Amsterdam that she's just done with her friend is
oh, I've just come back from
she makes tea. But yeah, her friend just went to Amsterdam.
Oh, she's made you a brew.
Yeah, she has. Bless her.
Nice.
My friend from Hethwell Wargame says that the game of War of the Roses using strength and honor I saw in some other partisan reports surely looked epic, but what can I say? Really like the scale of the rules. Yeah, strength and honor. I don't know the rules. Is it for War of the Roses?
His next comment, he says it's 3mm blocks. Oh, I can't imagine anything worse, to be honest. I mean, each their own. You guys, if people like 3mm blocks and basically what is just a coloured square wandering around a table, then you carry on. That's more about the strategy and the gaming thing than it is. I mean, for me, the big underlying why I like this hobby is the visual spectacle. And I get
absolutely. That's what got me into the hobby.
I agree with you. Yeah.
It's all about the spectacle.
I agree.
Indeed. I mean, I have to say, there are, you know, I sit here and I look up at my shelf with all my models on it there, and I think, you know, if I had no models for that particular period, or if I was like selling it all and starting again, there are a few I play that I would perhaps look at different scales, like 15mm, for example, you know. But the biggest driver behind that, I've already got models in a different scale, and I prefer the aesthetics of something bigger or something smaller, whatever the case may be. The biggest driver, however, is, do I know anybody who plays it? And if the answer is no, I ain't buying it.
See, I'd only buy 40k if I stuck to them rules.
Yeah.
Because everyone I know plays, well, 30k now as well. A lot of people are getting into that since that new Heresy box dropped.
That was quite a reasonable value, that box as set scum.
Yeah, you get a lot in there. Yeah, definitely worth the money.
I know a couple of chaps that they brought, between the two of them, they brought 3 boxes, and I think they argued over the third tank, but everything else was half and half, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem if you get 3 boxes. There's going to be stuff that you both want the dread, or you both want the tank, or
yeah, I know, but certainly, and some of the old Horus Heresy plastic sets like Betrayal at Calth and things like that were reasonable value. I did. There was one set of Terminators I painted up for my young nephew when he was briefly into 40k, and he had the Betrayal of Calth Terminators, or one of those Horus Heresy plastic set Terminators, and they were really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was all Forge World before.
Well, yes,
so
I remember
now that
looking
you can,
at that.
now you can buy it in plastic. It's just made it a lot more accessible. I hope they do the same when they bring Fantasy back, and they bring out a box set that's something like that.
Indeed. There was clearly, yes, it's on the horizon, that coming back of Fantasy, but there's quite a movement afoot, not just amongst some local gaming buddies of mine, a club I used to play at in central Bristol, getting retro with an older edition of Warhammer Fantasy. I think Phil on Wargames Anonymous and a couple of other people were looking into it about a year or so ago. But 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle is very popular at my old games club in central Bristol.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing 6th, isn't there?
Yeah, yes, indeed.
It was a good version, the 6th one.
It was. I like the box set that came with it. Used to like the Plastic Empire models that came in that set. Yes. But anyway, we digress. We digress. But yeah, scales, I think, is definitely, you know, as long as you've got a regular opponent. I mean, some people might just like collecting and painting and putting on a shelf and saying, "Who doesn't that look pretty?" But I think scales play a big part in the enjoyment of the game, not for a lot of reasons, not just like space concerns like Nick's got with his flat layer or whatever.
If you'd have asked me about scales about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd have said 28mm all the time. But now I'm getting more switched on to these little fellas. Just
have you got
because of
any
the mass
cavalry you can
effect
show
of
up by
them.
the camera there, Leon, so we can have a little look? Because I am tempted, but
I've got some Scots Greys that I've finished, but they need basic. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them.
oh yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh.
I like the horses. Nice, mate.
Oh, that's very nice. Oh, I like it.
So I've got a regiment of them done. And then I'm just doing these lifeguards.
Oh yeah.
But I've realised I painted the crossbelts white and they should be buff. So I've had to repaint them. And then the saddle blanket should be grey, and I've done them blue with gold trim. So I've got to repaint all them as well.
Oh well.
So it's brought
I
me
would
to a
hold it against
standstill.
you, mate. Now,
I'm going to
obviously,
leave them.
the box sets obviously come with quite a bit in, but how much are the models to buy? And when you buy like a unit of cavalry or what have you, the separate sets, it's not something I paid a lot of attention to.
I think they're about 25 quid, and you get enough to do 3 regiments.
All right, okay.
So it's not too bad. And that's, what is it? It's like 5 stands, I think, to a regiment. So 100 miniatures per regiment, 300 minis. And then in the infantry one, you get skirmishers as well. And a cannon. No, you get 3 cannons. So yeah, pretty good value, really.
Yeah, fair. That's not bad actually. Like I said, I remain tempted, but I'm veering towards out of what's available now. I'm veering towards
The ACW.
Yeah,
I've got the ACW as well.
Okay.
But when the Napoleonics come out, they came to a standstill, and I started on these instead.
Fair dues. Now, if the things I've heard the rumours about were actually out now, I wouldn't think twice. I'd be the English Civil War stuff all the way, simply because I don't have that in either of the scales. Despite Miller's attempts to get me subliminally messaging me about play it, but despite that, I have resisted so far. So,
I might sell my Landsknechts to pay for it all.
Oh, you bastard! Oh, temptation! Thy name is Leon.
Because I don't use
them. Around your ass.
I don't use them, so they might as well, rather than just sit in a box.
Yeah, that's fair
I
enough.
am
You did a
tempted
nice
to sell
job on those. I enjoyed watching your video on that.
Thank you.
Nightspirit says, if you get epic naps, Simon makes it easier for me to fly down from Scotland and play you.
Oh yes, that's good evening, Jamie. That's a chat from my aforementioned gaming club in central Bristol. Yes, no, I suppose. Yeah. And to be fair, when you think about mass battles, yes, obviously the American Civil War had quite a few of those, but you just think of Napoleonics, don't you, and the sort of big scale things. Yeah. So maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But I suppose I would get something painted quicker than I almost painted myself out of Napoleonics because one of the reasons my output on my channel slowed down a bit was I was furiously painting Napoleonics to get them back ready for the end. All right, stop. But to get them ready for the game at the August bank holiday. But I'm almost like bored with it. But
they're quicker to paint than 28s.
Well, yeah,
a lot quicker.
That's one thing I discovered when I mentioned earlier on about I'd had a conversation with some old friends of mine about 15mm stuff, and I thought to myself just to try. They came out, that's come out quite nice, and especially when I quite often with something small go for the black undercoat and heavy dry brush over it before I then start being careful with detail, and that lends itself quite well. But like look, that's one thing I was admiring about those Scots Greys you showed just now. The horses look really good on that. But, yes, I'm tempted. I'm tempted, but you never know. If I see, like I say, my friend Jim, who runs the local game shop that I play at, I've seen him painting a lot. If more people are playing it, I might dip me toe in.
Jump in.
Yeah. Why
These
not?
are done with that black method I was saying
Oh,
to you
yeah.
before we came online. So just black grey, dry brush London grey, and then a dark ink over
London
the
grey
top.
is like a sort of a charcoaly grey, isn't it? If I remember right.
Yeah.
I did think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair dues.
And just
No,
gives you a
so
subtle highlight once you put the wash on.
was it when did you put the wash on? Before or after the London grey?
After the London grey. And then you don't have to touch the black again. It's all done.
Cool. Now, we had this conversation before you came on, Nick, simply because I was talking about being interested in painting Brunswickers for Napoleonics.
Okay.
So I was thinking of using the Perry Miniatures 28mm Austrians for that, and then just obviously because I don't want to go spending a fortune on metal models. But we'll see. But yeah, I think scales. It's the choice of scale is important for a number of reasons because of the effects, like little 10mm stuff, the big mass battle, or large
Yeah.
Yeah, I
scale stuff.
was really surprised by them 10 mils. I didn't think
Yeah,
they'd be that nice.
I was. I mean, I'd always, been big. I tried 6mm stuff. This shit. And that's from somebody who was a regular at the time, 15mm gamer, as opposed to the big 28s. And so I was a little reticent, and then I saw a couple, and like some of Stig's stuff, some of his first videos was ACW. I was like, God, they actually look really nice. And then when the Lancashire Games stuff for 100 Years War that I painted for Nick went plop on my doormat and I opened them up, I thought, yeah, not bad. I was sort of looking at them, and once I actually started painting them up, because the approach I took, especially for infantry, black undercoat, dry brush a very dark brown over it, and then start applying detail. And I thought, what? This is actually quite easy.
Yeah.
So if I like I say, it's the big writing thing. The thing I keep circling back round to is, nice, but do I know anybody who plays it?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. That's true.
Indeed. Now, I was going to say, has anybody else got anything they wanted to say about scales?
Well,
Not me.
Well, the only thing I have to say is it's a matter of obviously taste. Now, if we'll get War Game says 12.5, what a weird scale. I think in the end, it's good. I think at the end,
I wonder how they arrived at that. To be fair,
I think at the end is mostly okay. It has to do with budget, has to do with space, I believe. And it has to do with what you want. I mean, what you like. If you are a 100% painter and you're just collecting and you have a cupboard, put them, you can paint. You can have a small space and paint. But if you're a gamer, you have to take in consideration your house, your space, unless you go and play at a club. I think, but in the end, is what you like. What as I said, as you said, guys, it's a visual thing. If you like what you paint, if you like something, you collect it, then you will find a way to game. It's a very
if it gives you that
game.
visual,
exactly,
wow factor.
And I tell you, I was surprised because I told you I have big 15mm armies. I started 15mm in the early 2000s, and then I moved quickly after 5-6 years to 28mm. But I'm surprised. I will have to say that I can see myself collecting for a little while a few more 10mm to get more variety and get a bigger table here and have space and fight monster battles. I can see this because it's appealing to me, especially now that I don't have my 28s here.
Yeah, definitely.
What was just to briefly touch on it before we go on to talking about the campaign systems thing we're going to talk about? What were when you moved from 15s to 28s, Dave, what was the first manufacturer you went for, and why did you choose that?
You mean the ones 28mm from 15?
Yes, when you moved to 28 from 15, what was the first manufacturer? you used?
I was well. I went. Well, I was not at that time. We didn't have much. So basically, my early armies. I don't know if you've seen the showcases. Was War Games Foundry, Essex, and Black Tree. These companies. From
Oh
the
yeah,
UK.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. So these were my first. I mean, Essex mostly. Then I found War Games Foundry that I liked a lot, and Black Tree that I think they're really good miniatures. Black Tree.
I like the look of some of those Black Tree. I might get some myself actually.
Yeah, they're very good.
You have to wait a while for them to turn up.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
really?
the 100 Years War are brilliant. Also, the War Games Foundry. Then I have to say, okay, except Claymore that we all love, and my early 100 Years War armies are 90% Claymore. That'd be beautiful. I have to say I was impressed with First Corps. There is something I want to continue. I have mounted knights and commanders from First Corps, and I want to move to get some infantry. If anybody's interested in 100 Years War, I would suggest to go and check their site. They have some really, really beautiful miniatures. And as I said before, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mix and match, because regardless of how many poses and miniatures you can get from Claymore or from Perry, they after a while, then if you have big armies, they all look the same. Now I managed with my old 28s that I have Black Tree Essex. I mix them all together, and actually the sizes are very close. It's not a big issue, except maybe front rank that they're a bit more bulkier. But if you see them all together, they look much more realistic, because you have different shapes, different types of designs and if you mix them together, they look brilliant. I think I'm going to go this way from now on.
How do you find the Essex infantry? Because they're cavalry, beautiful models, but they're so much smaller than things like Perry or Claymore.
Yeah, cavalry. The horses are very small, but you can use them mounted with other cavalry, and they will be fine. But yes, I wouldn't. But I don't like the cavalry very much anyway. I wouldn't get from Essex cavalry. I would get the infantry. They have some really nice, and even their knights are not that good. But they have. I think their normal heavy infantry, the spearmen, are really good. They look good. Also, the men-at-arms and heavy infantry from Black Tree, they're very nice. And the same with War Games Foundry, they have nice miniatures.
Yeah, I like
that. But I wouldn't go for the mounted, no.
Well, you mentioned just in passing, mentioned First Corps. Now, I've had a recent experience with them in terms of ordering some models. I ordered some Greek hoplites. It's like I do quite like Ancient Wargaming, and I made the mistake of ordering a couple of units from a couple of different manufacturers. Now, the cavalry I ordered from First Corps, really nice, but the infantry, I ain't going near that again. Basically, the spears, it looks like they're holding a telegraph pole. It's relative to the size of the hand, it looks like somebody's taken a tree trunk down. I find myself, I took a unit that I painted into the games club just to say, hey guys, what do you think of these? Because there are quite a few of them play a lot of ancients, and I think our unit of 16 flights, about 9 or 10 of the spears had come off, and it was hopeless. It really was. I'm just going to go to those thin wire spears that you can get and just do that. Perhaps close the hands around them a bit more, or a bit of green stuff in, and then what have you. But nah, sorry, First Corps, but your Greek hoplites don't do it for me.
It's not bad, huh? Not bad.
I had quite a few Romans from First Corps, and they were really nice. Romans were good.
Yeah, actually, Romans. I've painted. I've painted some Romans recently, but the the Warlord Games Romans. It's the lighting in here. It's not very good. Never mind. But yeah, I put it on YouTube as a little reel the other day. They're really small compared to other 28.
Yeah, they are. The Imperial ones are.
Yes,
the Caesarian ones are normal scale.
Are they?
But
No, see, I literally flipped a coin saying I fancy painting Romans. Caesarian, Imperial.
Yeah, the Imperial ones are really, really small. I've got the Victrix ones.
They're lovely.
They are very nice, but they are the only problem with the Victrix ones is they're a little bit spindly, the weapons, so they break very easily. Yeah, but I find that with all Victrix because they go for a more realistic size.
I
So
love
they-
the Victrix horses. They're lovely.
Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they?
Yeah. Anyway,
I've just bought some Normans.
Now they do like the cavalry or the infantry?
I've got the infantry already, so I've just bought. They had that sale, didn't they? 15% off.
Yeah,
So
they
I
did,
bought
they
2
did.
bags of Norman cavalry.
That sale handily coincided with when I was broke, so I didn't order any. But I would have been very tempted with some of the cavalry myself, to be fair.
Yeah, Romans is another period that's worth gaming. It's a beautiful period. You have too many options of the enemies. I think it's a brilliant period.
I said you can even Civil War them. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And what Knightspear, aka Jamie, has just said, the Imperial Romans are basically 25 mil. I sent you pics of them next to the Victrix slingers. They look like kids. You're absolutely right.
yeah, they
It's
do look like hobbits. It's like having a hobbit army of Romans.
It's like putting an Essex knight against a Claymore one. It looks like a child riding a donkey on the beach, basically.
Yeah.
Compared to other things. Nice, the actual models are nice. It's just fucking small. But, yeah, there we go. There we go. Right. What was I going to say? Okay. Anything else in the chat? Oh, put that one already. Oh dear. Oh yeah, very funny.
Very good, Ken. Very good.
Very good, Ken. Like it. Like it. Oh dear. Marvelous. Now, campaigns. That was the other thing we were going to chat about, wasn't it? Besides scales.
Yes.
Nick, I believe you've got a with campaign rules system. You're either writing or.
Yes, for me, I'm trying. You know, I tried to make campaign because actually it was generated because obviously I cannot fight a campaign with my 28s because I'm not that often home, and I can fight a battle too, but no more. The campaign probably take years as I go, you know, once every 3 months. But now with my 10s, and I was quite, you know, they pushed me to think of a campaign rules that I can fight continuous battles. You know, we're discussing with Leon and with you before, but with Leon we discussed a long time ago that if you have the time and you have, you know, you have the time to fight a campaign, how much more interesting it is when a battle that you fight has consequences in the next battle. You lose troops, you gain troops, you move your piece, you do strategy. How more interesting a game is if you have the time, obviously, to fight a sequence of battles that influence each other. So
yeah,
I was thinking of doing something. I'm working on it. I did a map with some Baby program. I'm trying to figure out, read here and there. I'm trying to figure some simple rules for a campaign, and yeah, I'm still working on it. Hopefully, I can have another update soon. But it's something that I think, and especially with any type of army, Napoleonics, Dark Ages, you know, you can create a nice simple map. You can create the major cities or areas that you want the campaign to run through, and with maybe some simple rules you can enjoy. You know, you can have some moves. You can think about recruiting. You can think about the winter. You can think about the summer. You can think about, you know, things that you don't take in consideration in just a simple battle game.
Yeah, I've got at the end of my Napoleonic rules, I've got a little mini campaign. There's only like 6 scenarios, but each one affects the next battle.
Mm-hmm.
So as you
play
play
about the rules you were doing.
Yeah, so as you play through each battle, like if you win, for argument's sake, in the next battle, some of your troops will be upgraded to elite status rather than being green, because obviously they've seen some action now. And then other things will be delayed because, you know, they got battered in the first battle, so they turn up late for the next one. Things like that.
Yeah, like Martin's been running a campaign on his channel with his Wars of the Roses stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the latest one actually. I was going to, but then I got distracted with other stuff today. And but there, yeah. So one of the things about campaign games that really interests me, for example, the hook me that dragged me in, is the fact that you rather than just, hi, here's my army, stick on the bench, my opponent, roll some dice and do whatever. Actually, it makes a difference what you do in one game in order to see how it affects the next one, and it gives you character. It gives character to these little pieces of plastic or metal that you're pushing around the table.
Yeah,
and actually there's more, as well as all. I mean, obviously we've all invested time and effort into painting these things or what have you, but you actually get another reason that you're invested in it, because you want to see how General Dave does next time out, sort of thing, or what have you. And like for me, I hadn't played, as I was saying to you earlier, Leon, I hadn't played 40k for a long time, not since the previous edition, in fact. And yet I've been hooked back into playing 40k because of a campaign system. They're Crusade rules that are in the part of the rule set for 40k, and the fact that I played a game, had my arse handed to me, played another game, won handsomely, and there was, I can upgrade this to this, and I can have another 250 points now, and then blah blah blah. And that's why this afternoon I've been furiously painting, gluing together Dark Eldar models, so I could put that 250 points. Yes, absolutely. That's the joy of campaigns to me. Like I remember taking part in some years ago at a shop, and you can see your going up the campaign, or you can see your little dot on the map getting bigger, or what have you, rather than just turning up and rolling dice every week.
I think that's why games like Necromunda and Blood Bowl are so popular.
Yes.
Because as the more games you have, your gangs get better, you can upgrade them, you can get better weapons, and you just want to see your characters progressing. And then occasionally one will get killed and it'll wound you, but you take the blows and you just carry on.
Absolutely. I mean,
and that's how campaigns work, isn't it? It's the same sort of thing. Your general gets better.
Yeah.
Or his arm gets blown off.
I've done it for years, but when I used to do role playing years ago, that's something like your character gets better, and you can, like you use your weapon better when you advance with your skills and so on and so forth. And it's the same principle applied to your miniature wargaming.
I see. It invests you in it more, doesn't it? Invests you in that army more because you want to progress and you want it to do better.
Absolutely. I mean, Nick, what do you think as well? I mean, you were talking about the campaigns and you had go in there, but in terms of what attracts you to doing a campaign rather than just a random different battle every time, would you say there's a particular element to it that gets you hooked?
Well, what you were saying there is also, it's nice because you can use any rules. Most of the rules you can use your captains or your generals or whatever you use. You can give them characteristics. So it will look more like, and I said this before, it will look like a role play game. For example, if you have a general who's incompetent, your strategy will be different. If you have competent captains or brave captains and coward generals. So I like the idea that you will have commanders with deficiencies, and you can add more characteristics regarding the campaign. Maybe it's that you have negatives and positive things every commander. So it's more like a role play game where you develop your armies, as Leon said about his rules, that your armies get higher and higher experience, and then maybe you move, you fight, and suddenly this unit that you have been catering for months and has become experienced, and your elite just is destroyed, and you start from zero. So I think all these are really interesting aspects of a game that you cannot consider while you're playing one-off game. Things that will create problems and will give you another strategic options. And you can fight small battles when you have random events and fighting, I don't know, with small towns, and you can start building up your army. You can use winter months and summer months. Winter months, usually campaigns were not taking place. People went back to to cultivate the fields. I mean, there is so many options. You can make it as complicated as a simple. I have this. I have to say, I have this book that I bought online. It's not book. It's online. It's called, and it has some brilliant ideas. I would highly recommend it. I have showcased it in my on my channel a long time ago. Maybe even you followers haven't seen it. It's called the Solo Wargaming Guide. William Sylvester's Field Guide of Wargaming Without an Opponent, and it has basically its campaign rules, and it starts with chapter 1, the campaign level, and it tells you how to create a campaign, especially when you are playing on your own, and how you can make automated responses of your opponents. It's a really brilliant book, and it has helped me a lot. I think I got it from War Games Vault, very cheap. I don't remember, a long time ago. I highly recommend it. It will give you some really great ideas. I can share.
I think I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, let me share it 1 second. I have it here. I have this.
In the chat, Nightsphere has said it's a really good book, so he's familiar, and it does ring a bell. It's also anything by John Lamshed is also quite worth a read, actually.
Is it? Can you see it?
I can't see anything.
I can just see a field of glory with your 10 MMs on at the moment, mate.
Okay, so you can. Okay, here you can see it now. Okay, here you can see it, I think.
Have you put it in the chat?
I think you can see it now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I've got that book. Now that I see the cover, it looks familiar. I've got that book.
So this is a brilliant book. Obviously, it has many eras. I can see that this is Civil War, I think. And you start from here, your campaign level. So solo campaign mobilization rules. This is a really nice chapter, because when you're playing on your own and you have an opponent you're playing your own, you have it has some standard triggers of your opponent. Time and transportation, you have the weather, logistics and attrition, morale, alliances, revolts, sieges. It has all the mutinies, has sea campaign. It has also fiction and fantasy. It has a sample campaign. It's air warfare also. It has, if you see at the bottom of page 107, I think. So it really is a very interesting book, and it helped me a lot to try to. And I haven't read it for quite some time, and it helped me a lot trying to create my own campaign. It's really worth getting if somebody wants to run a campaign, even on his own. He has some really good ideas about how you can look at chapter 1 is the campaign level, and how you can basically move your opponents. Here's just ideas about how much movement, terrain, hexes unit has, and solo campaign mobilization rules. It tells you how your opponents will start mobilizing and where they will go. You will have some standard, let's say, strategies. So it's a very interesting book. I would recommend it.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's fun.
When I was working for Games Workshop, we actually used to do a lot of campaigns over the summer, you know, for all the school kids when they're off. So we used to write campaigns all the time to keep them going. And we'd do little things like, you'd have a hero bash. So one day you'd just fetch your hero, your main general in, and they'd just fight each other, and that'd have effects for the next day's battle, depending on how they got on in that hero bash.
Yeah,
I've taken part in a few things like that at Games Workshop, actually.
Yeah, we used to do it all the time.
Now, what I saw here, I think I saw Dave saying, actually I want to ask, Dave said he picked up Henry Hyde's campaign book. It will take a decade to read it. So far, it's well organized, a lot of text and maps. So yes, I was curious if this is a good book. I don't know if you've seen it, guys. I think Martin has it.
No, I've not seen it.
No, I'm aware of it. I don't have it. I'm just going to step away for a second, folks. The dog's bothering me. She needs a drink in her bowl.
Nightsphere says, I remember the summer campaigns from Games Workshop days. We came up with some wild magic weapons.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, make your own magic weapons.
But it's, you know, something, it's nice if somebody has the time and, you know, let's say he wants
Imagination.
imagination to create campaign, even solo and fight battles and have consequences. It's fun if you can do it. I know it's difficult. I know people are working, people are bored, but in the end, I think it will be satisfying if somebody can make a good campaign, and I will follow it.
Yeah.
That's how Solo Wargamers guidebook you were just showing, Nick. A good friend of mine lives quite locally to me, and he wasn't aware that I was a gamer, and he does lots of solo gaming, quite uses a lot of 20mm figures and so on. But he uses that book in conjunction with bloody lighting in this place. Let me take a photo. It's called 1 Hour Skirmish Wargaming by John Lamshed.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
It's very good. Yeah, it's very good, and it's he basically uses that campaign book that you showed in conjunction with this one. So and he speaks very highly of it, and he's done some interesting little. I think he's on the Facebook page for Solo Wargamers and things like that, and he's put some interesting. He does a lot of Vietnam War stuff with it, and sort of like Korean stuff, anything sort of middle of the 20th century sort of thing. He's done a lot of that using those rules and that. It's very creative actually. Just force you to think about things a bit.
Yeah, I think that rule sets miss campaign rules, but proper campaign rules, and also I think rule sets miss, especially for the medieval and ancient times, miss also siege rules. I think siege rules and campaign rules are missing from the hobby.
Yeah, I hear talk.
Yeah, definitely siege.
Yeah, I was going to say I hear talk about some siege rules being incorporated into Hail Caesar, and obviously Martin's done a lot of work, and it's like almost they've been listening to him in terms of there's going to be a supplement for Hail Caesar with Wars of the Roses stuff and something based on like the old Warhammer siege rules in it as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Warhammer did that, didn't they? They brought out a supplement for siege rules.
No, I've got that book here.
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
Really?
Blimey, that's old, that.
Oh, it is indeed. I found it in the loft the other day, along with the General's Handbook from 5th edition.
Blimey.
And the original Realm of Chaos books.
Oh, the
Lost and the Damned and Slaves to Darkness.
Wow. Now that's really old.
Oh yeah, so am I.
I think that's before my time, that one.
Oh, shush. but the no, it's campaigns. I think it just goes to show actually how much there is outside of the actual table with the models on, or the painting table with brushes and everything that there is in this hobby. Really, it's such a multifaceted hobby that people dismiss as grown men playing with toys and what have you, or women, obviously. It just goes to show there's a lot more to putting a game on than just simply putting some models on the table and rolling dice.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I agree. You need time, but it's fun if you can do it. I mean, I was not following that much, but I'm following now the Little Wars campaign. It's quite interesting. Little Wars TV is nice.
Oh yeah, and I'm aware of their stuff. I've only watched their Agincourt video.
Yeah,
it was really nicely done the way they did the video and having the commanders talking to camera and stuff like that. But is it worth a watch then, Nick? Because I've not really paid.
Well, I've seen it. Yes, it's fun. They made a really nice campaign map, 3D type, and they're role playing it and they're fighting battles. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if you have free time, watch it. They have the rules. I downloaded the rules for free. You can get the rules for free, so it can give you an idea of campaigns. And it's fun. It's fun. It's quite good. It's quite good.
Marvelous. Now, what tips for the top would you give people about campaigns, Leon, either organising them or playing them?
What? Sorry, because your microphone's playing up.
Is it? So, what tips for the top?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
No, it's gone again.
Have I? Yeah.
I can hear you, but it's kind of shady.
Any better?
That's better.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what tips for the top would you give people for campaigns, either organising them or playing them, or would that depend on period, you think?
It
Yeah.
depends. It does depend on the period, but I mean, to be fair, you can incorporate campaign rules into any system, really. The main thing you want to do is make it so that one battle affects the next. That's the main thing you got to keep in mind. Start off small and work up as well. Don't start off with 8 million soldiers on the table. Start off with just, a decent sized couple of armies fighting against each other. And the winner will get bonuses. The loser maybe get some bonuses as well if he's had units that perform well. And then you take that into the next battle. And then you carry on. But you don't want to make it so much of a swing that the next battle's a foregone conclusion. You've got to be very careful. You can't suddenly have one army turn up and all of a sudden it's like, if you're talking in Warhammer terms, you've got 3,000 points against 2,000, because it's just, it'll never work. The guy on the losing side is never going to get an advantage.
That's true.
So you've just got to be careful how you work the campaign rules, and it's all you do is just little tweaks.
There's
so
many
you might get an
of
increase in
campaigns.
leadership on your general,
Yeah.
if you win the battle, just little things like that. And go for territories. Territories is always a good one.
Yeah.
So you can see your progression.
There's quite a few different types of campaigns, ladder campaigns, tree campaigns, or just people might have their own sort of bastard child of all of them, really. In terms of like maps and things. Like one game that almost came with a campaign thing built into it. That I toyed with the idea of getting into the game, and I painted some of the models, but it never really got further than that. Was Oathmark.
Yeah, I painted some Oathmark, but then I got fed up with having to buy hundreds of different books.
Yeah, exactly. But so their campaign system seems quite interesting. I think I joined a Discord briefly, though there was just so many messages that were utterly irrelevant to anything I was interested in, because I like these models, I might start playing this game, sort of stage of interest. And
drown with messages.
Exactly. I mean, I know you can mute servers and that, but I sort of lost interest in it a little bit and shelved the models as a result. But I think I might trade it into Jay, actually. And I miniatures Jay. But anyway, whatever. But the campaign system seemed quite interesting. That was very map based and sort of moving territories and things. I mean, I used to like playing Diplomacy years ago. That board game, Diplomacy.
Yep.
So that sort of thing. I mean, there's so many different sorts of campaigns that, but any of it just adds an extra dimension of what is already an interesting hobby, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously, if you're doing a multiplayer campaign, you can form allegiances, and then you can, break them allegiances, and it's just all a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm like I said, I've got hooked back into playing 40k for the first time in 2-3 years, simply because of the Crusade rules, which is not a campaign as such, but it's just you progressively get better and better, don't you?
Yeah, see, you can have some elite units and stuff turn up.
Exactly, and that's why I've been building some new Dark Eldar murder taxes today.
So you got some Trueborn.
That's going to be the next step, I think. I just went for a few more bums on seats this time.
Trueborn are well worth getting, by the way.
Oh yeah, because of their ballistic skill, like hitting on a 2.
Everything hits on 2, so
yeah, exactly.
They don't tend to miss a lot, which is very handy when you arm them with dart lances.
Ooh, yes. But there we go. We've just perfectly illustrated the point. There's another aspect of campaigning that you can improve your models and get a bit better. For me, it, like I say, just adds an extra bit of interest.
Yeah, a little bit of fun.
Absolutely.
It makes it worth a reason to go to the club and have a game, because at the end of it you're going to go home and you think, oh right, now I can rewrite my army list. Now I can plan something different. I can have a little bit of a shock tactic, throw some incubi into a raider, and off you go.
That was actually plan B for this evening. Actually, I've got some incubi here. I need to
very nice.
Yeah, so that's the next plan.
Are they plastic incubi? I didn't
they
know
are
they
now.
did
Yes.
them.
Yeah,
wow.
I did paint some of the old Finecast ones a while ago, or edition 2 ago. But yeah, the latest I think combat patrols they call them now, rather than start collecting boxes. It comes with a Raider and a Ravager, which I built as 2 Raiders because I don't want the Ravager just yet. A squad of 10 warriors, a squad of 5 incubi.
Very nice.
And
can you buy them incubi separately?
Yes.
Right, cool.
Yes,
because I haven't got any incubi.
Oh, no,
I used to have the old metal ones, but I sold that army years ago.
Yeah, no, these are good. These are good. They look nice too. They look like the last incarnation, Finecast incarnation, but in plastic and not shitty bendy resin with holes in.
Yeah, exactly. So that you can actually paint them and they won't fall to pieces.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one. Oh dear me! I've never seen such a look at. When my son was still interested in the hobby, and he had a Grey Knights collection, though he mostly played with his Nurgle Chaos or Blood Angels, particularly the latter. But he brought a couple of Finecast Grey Knight characters, and he said, Dad, I feel like this. Bear in mind, he was 10 at the time. He says, I've spent 30 quid, but I feel I've been shafted because I've only got these, and look at the horrible stuff it's made out. Either you pay your money, you take your choice.
That's it. Out of the mouths of babes.
Absolutely. Mike, he's always had quite a wry sense of humour, my boy, ever since he was a small toddler, really. He always had a smile that could light up a room and like a wicked sense of humour. And he's still very dry now. You know, he'll walk past and make some dry witticism that's sort of like, you know, everybody's been sliced to bits with the sharpness of his wit as he goes through the room.
Very nice.
Yes. But also, actually, canny negotiator, my lad, as well. Because obviously, adult kids that are working and employed, I make them sort of contribute to the household budget every month. But he negotiated a discount on the grounds that he's my nerd club taxi every time I go to Games Club.
I like
good
his
on
style.
him.
I like his style.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's also 6'3", so I'm not going to fucking argue with him.
No, not anymore. The days are gone.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, his at the end of season 2 for his rugby club last season, in his last year as a colt before becoming like senior player, one of his coaches had the misfortune of going to school with me many years ago. He was in the year above me at school and playing rugby with me, and he says, and when they were giving each chap a little chat, now Adam here, he says blah 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 blah. Great rugby player, not as nasty a bastard as his old man who I played with 30 years ago, but
brilliant.
Yeah, bless him. Thank you, Kieran. I appreciate it. And everybody, of course, look currently laughing. Yeah, I'll just shrink into the corner here. There we go. No, campaigning, brilliant. Love it. Just, you know, I'm already an enthusiastic gamer anyway, but you know, I mean, for example, I'm sat here looking at some 40k models and some others in the books and some books I brought up there. None of it would be here if it wasn't for that Crusade system in the rule book and the fact that at my Games Club, plenty of people I know, including 2 or 3 people that have never played 40k before, have all leapt in. So I thought, well, why not?
Yeah, it's good. Ninth. The only thing that's put me off playing it is all the meta chasing and the constant FAQs and chapter approved every 3 months or something, where they just change all the points and the rules. So I just can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I've long since a problem of mine, having a long time ago been a player when I'm basically Eldar or Dark Eldar, I then went through a period of every 5 minutes, and it was because I'd played the same army for so long and I fancied a change, and I sold up and started changing. But then I used to listen to a lot of competitive play focused podcasts. You know, you commuting to work, got your headphones on whilst you sat staring out the window on the train or the bus or something, and they're all the late. I mean, for example, remember when either Grey Knights or Space Wolves in 5th edition were the latest in thing, and and the number of things you go, oh, that sounds good, I'll buy some of that, and you get halfway through buying the bits you need to do this so-say competitive army, and then along comes a rules change or an edition change, and it's no longer the nuts anymore, so you end up with lots of half-started collections that never got very far simply because you're trying to chase the meta. And I long since have thought, you know what, screw this, I'm just going to buy models I like.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, unless you're, you know, absolutely loaded and you can afford to chase the meta.
Yeah,
But
that's
otherwise,
another,
just stick with what you want.
that's another thing. It's one podcast, actually mentioned podcast that I like is the Ken, the Yorkshire Gamer. I quite often listen to that, and he does. He has a set of questions he asks all his guests that come on, and one of the questions he asks: Games Workshop, are they the work of Satan? I would say the models are beautiful, but the pricing structure certainly is the work of Satan. That is.
Well, I would have said I'd agree with you right up until they reduced that Horus Heresy box. And when that came out, I thought, oh, maybe they're changing here. Maybe they're not going to rip everybody off like they used to. But
Yeah.
I'd say Games Workshop probably make the best models on the market in plastic that you can buy.
I mean, whether you're into the game or not, and even when I went to, I am mostly focused on historical gaming, but I
Same.
do like Games Workshop stuff and have started playing 40k again for the first time in a long while. But regardless of whether you play the game or not, you've got to admire the quality of the models, even if you're not particularly interested in genetically enhanced superhuman beings and laser guns, or dark elves, or whatever it may be. Just the quality of the models is just superb.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. But just as you say, most of them are overpriced.
Yes.
And if you go to Forge World, be prepared to remortgage your house.
Oh, no, tell me about it. I mean, my son used to, when he was back into it, like between the ages of about 8 or 9 up to about 12, 13, he used to go out and get vouchers and stuff from us and from his grandparents and stuff, and we used to go to Games Day, which is always used to be roughly around about the time of his birthday, in September.
Brilliant.
And Dad, do you want to look at this stuff? Forge World. Get to the front of the Forge World queue, when you get off the coach. But buying various Forge World bits and pieces and so on.
I had to do a couple of Games Days when I was at Workshop.
Oh yeah.
Hated it.
Really?
Yeah, awful. It's just too busy.
Yeah, and the standing in the queue because you want to get X, Y, or Z from Forge World, and then it came into its own for me when you could wander around and take a look at the lovely painted golden demon entries and that sort of thing. And oh god, I remember these models in White Dwarf 10 years ago, and there was I think one of the last game days I went to would have been 2014, 2013, just not long before they stopped doing them. There was do you remember the old Marauder miniatures, Dark Elves from the early 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, loved them. And there was a whole cabinet just behind where Jervis Johnson was sat signing autographs.
All fully painted.
And it was, I loved those models. I was like, you distract him, I'm going to bust into this cabinet.
Yeah, I'm going to steal them all.
I used to run a podcast called 40K, that was part of a forum called 40K for Old Men.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a T-shirt on with the slogan, and I got to the front of this queue for Jervis to autograph my son's White Dwarf. I was telling him, look, Adam, I said, this man invented Blood Bowl. He's worthy of veneration. And he started laughing. Then he looked up and saw my T-shirt, and he said, is that a salary request? No, well, it bloody was. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. So I think we talked out scales and campaigning quite well, but anything else that leaps to mind that you wanted to tell about? Because I think...
Well, on the subject of Jervis Johnson, very quickly, I'd like them to bring back the Ancient Battles.
Oh, some of those rule books for the Warhammer historical bits and pieces. Did you ever see the Waterloo one, the Napoleonic?
I've got it. Yeah.
Good book. A very good book, and B, the rules are quite decent as well.
Yeah, they're not too bad. They're not bad at all.
I brought one because he knew of my historical preferences, and I brought it as well when they were closing down Warhammer historical and selling all the stuff off half price.
Yeah. And do you know they're worth a fortune now?
Are they really?
Oh yeah, you'll easily get 200 quid for it on eBay.
Good Lord, really? I know there's quite a few fans of Warhammer Ancient Battles in particular, but the Waterloo book, like I say, we proxied the game using some Warhammer models and a few other bits and pieces, and my mate really enjoyed it. But then we sort of went off and did other things and what have you, and never came back to it. But
yeah, it's not a bad set of rules, that.
Yeah,
I've got that one. I've got the World War One.
Oh yeah.
I've got the Little Boats one. What else have I got? Oh, and I've got the Wild West one.
Yeah, that's another quite popular. In fact, Wild West gaming, Dead Man's Hand is quite a popular thing at the moment, isn't it? Really, that's quite a. That's quite a. You scratch the surface of that, and there's quite a few people interested in that and play that.
It's quite a pick up and play game. That it's just
the
half
Martin's
an hour
playing
game,
to it, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really? That's good.
Yeah, so you can get a few games in a night, or if you've just got half hour to kill. But it probably take you an hour to set it up because lots of buildings.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose.
But yeah, it's not a bad game. I play a few games of it. It's card based.
Blazing Saddles, they can build a whole town overnight.
Well, exactly.
Funny thing about that movie is when you've got that vast expanse of open desert and all the bad guys queue up at the toll gate.
Yeah, there's some cracking moments in that film.
Oh, I love that movie. I remember my son was off from school ill. This is going back a few years when he was still out of 14, 15, quite young, and he was feeling a bit down in the dumps, and as well as being ill. So I said, you know what, you need cheering up, mate. And I put Blazing Saddles on, and he was crying with laughter. It was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. You're guaranteed to get a laugh out of it. Same as if you put a Monty Python on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Dear me. What time is it where you are then, Nick, out in Saudi?
Now it's 12.
No, blind.
Midnight.
Past your bedtime then.
Well, no, I'm not working, so that's why I can be in the chat. Yeah, our week starts on Sunday.
Oh, so do you have tomorrow off then?
Yeah, our Fridays it's Thursday. Your Friday, our Friday in Europe is Thursday here, and our Monday is Sunday.
Right.
So we start work. We start the week on Sunday when we finish on Thursday.
Oh, right. So Thursday's your last day, and then Friday, Saturday's your weekend.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday is my weekend. Yeah.
Cool. Fair enough. Marvelous. You gents got anything planned for the weekend? Anything hobby-wise?
Yes. Me, I'm off to CrackCon.
Oh yes, you said. Yeah. Well, do give everybody my best when you go. Like, I'd love to go myself sometimes. Actually, Martin and I've had many a chat over Discord and stuff. I'd like to actually meet the man in person.
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times again as well, but I've never actually. This will be the first time I've met him. I nearly met him at Salute, but he went to a different bar. So I was waiting at
Martin,
bar.
Seventh Son.
So
sorry, Martin. Yeah, sorry. I thought something. Okay, yeah, very good. They have their own. This is their own thing from their group, correct?
Yeah.
They established they're playing games there. How it works?
Yeah, there's a whole load of different games going on, and you basically go down and just play whatever game you want. And I've been enlisted into the English Civil War Royalist side.
They have
Here's the head of a traitor.
They have miniatures, huh?
Yeah, all the miniatures are there. I mean, a lot of people are bringing miniatures down for the games.
Yeah.
But I'm not, because obviously I haven't got an English Civil War. So I think I'm borrowing some of Dom's.
Okay. Well, the eccentric man said he would have gone, but he's running a game at Selwig. Now, Selwig is a show I used to go to a lot because years ago it's been at a couple of different venues, but I actually lived in Upper Norwood, which is basically Crystal Palace, in South London for about 3 years.
That's where it is, isn't it, Selwig?
Yeah, that's where I was going to say it was originally in Lewisham, I think, years ago in the early 90s. But I used to love Selwig because I used to just walk across Crystal Palace Park down to the sports centre and come back.
That's it, you were there.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to like that. That and Salute I used to go to every year as well, many moons ago.
Yeah, I think I've only been to Salute twice.
I remember the first time I ever went to Salute, or was it a trip to Selwig? It might be Selwig actually, but the late great Duncan McFarland of War Games Illustrated fame, I stopped by, picked up a couple of back issues, and got chatting to him about something. And an hour and a half, I was still there later, still there. You know, chin wagging to the man.
Yeah. Yeah, Selwyg's a bit far for me.
Yeah, I suppose so. Whereabouts are you based, Leon?
Doncaster.
Oh, of course you are. Yeah.
Yorkshire.
Indeed.
Yorkshire.
Who are dirty Leeds losing to on the weekend then?
They're going to lose to Arsenal this weekend.
Yeah. Speaking as a Tottenham fan. Boo.
Yeah, see, you want us to win that game, don't you?
Oh yeah,
But we're
absolutely.
not
And you
gonna.
wear the right colours as well. Yeah. No, Arsenal been some good form recently, bastards.
I think Arsenal got a shout this season,
Well, shush.
but they haven't got Haaland. They ain't got that machine.
Oh God, dear, isn't he ever?
I think having Haaland in your team's a little bit like cheating.
Yeah, it is like cheat mode, isn't it? I mean, I was playing.
Yeah.
I had a cup of tea after finished lunch earlier on. I was playing I got to get a cricket game on my phone. I just play it now and again when I got 5 minutes to spare. And you quite often come across people who've obviously got some sort of cheat, which is really easy to do on the Android version of the phone. On the Android version of the game, I've got iPhone, so can't do it. But all of a sudden, you get like a ball that impossibly bends round sort of swing wise and clean bowled your first game.
Yeah.
Or you bowl somebody out and it comes up saying he's just scored a 6, and you think, you cheating bastard. And I came across that 3 times in the last couple of days, just when I've
that put me off that game.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, not playing that anymore.
No,
but yeah, that's what it must be like to play against Haaland.
Yeah, God, yeah, never.
And to think Leeds turned him down. We turned him down. We offered him 4 million and we turned him down.
Really?
Yeah, gutted. So we keep doing it, don't we? We did it with George Best as well, turned him down.
Good Lord.
But then we were a team then. We're not like a team anymore now. We're just some like Mickey Mouse outfit now. Oh no, I've broke his arm off.
Well, they're on one of your epics.
Yeah.
Oh, you can break an arm off some of that frig as well.
It's because I repositioned it.
Actually, Nick, you were mentioning earlier on, like mixing different manufacturers thing with your your medievals. The front rank, as you said about that are quite chunky in that, but I don't know whether it's a product that's something to do with them having they're now owned by Gripping Beasts and so on, but the quality of the metal isn't quite as good, because I was repositioning. This is what made me think of it. Leon saying he was repositioning. I brought a couple of British cavalry, Napoleonic cavalry, to fill out a unit, and I deliberately brought a horse that looks like it's falling because it's been shot. So the guy on it, I wanted to bend him back a little bit, and in bending his arm back, it was it snapped at the wrist. Like, something I've bent an arm or leg or whatever on many a metal miniature over the years, but in just bending the arm back slightly, it snapped at the wrist straight away.
That's annoying.
And also Don McHugh, who you'll meet tomorrow, Leon. He's the chap running the War of the Roses game tomorrow.
Yeah,
he's brought a buttload of front rank stuff that he's been furiously painting over the last 2 weeks to make sure he had enough cavalry for this game he's running at CrackCon tomorrow. Yeah. And he said, he and I were having a chat on Monday night at the Games Club, and he said exactly the same thing about bending something and snap.
Yeah, they must be using different metal.
Quite possibly. I mean, I've always been a big fan of front rank because I love the level of detail in them. Whereas I would prefer something like the old Connoisseur or Elite miniatures when it comes to Napoleonics, because I like the animation and the style. But some of those front rank models have got some beautiful levels of detail in, and I've got a few of their medievals, and they're all right. But I'm raising an eyebrow at this quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
They are considered good miniatures. I mean, I know that I don't have many. I have few, but I know that medieval wargaming is considered them quite good. I don't know now what's going to happen if Gripping Beast took over. If there's going to be any changes or improvements or whatever, well, I'll find out. We can find out soon. I have good relation with Gripping Beast. But they have some good medieval 100 years old miniatures. They have some really good ones.
Right, Eccentric Man has just said good night, guys, and I'm going to have to do something similar myself because, like I said earlier on, like I said to you guys earlier on, my daughter's just come back from a week's holiday away, and other than waving at her and saying, mouthing thank you, and she made me a cup of tea, considering I haven't seen her all week, I haven't spoken to her since she arrived back home 2 hours ago. So.
Yeah, no problem. I've got to get ready for pack my overnight bag and that anyway.
Sure, that's fine. 2 hours anyway.
Indeed, indeed. Well, gents, it's been good to get this going again. And whilst we have rambled a great deal, the actual topics we started out with, discussing different scales and campaigning, I think certainly a lot of food for thought there. It's certainly tempted me into trying that bloody epic stuff. I don't know. I may pick up a back issue of Wargames Illustrated that had a free sprue on the front and have a little try before delving in.
Yeah, so you get on with them. That's what I did first.
How much are the starter sets? I don't know. I haven't really looked at it.
I can't remember. I think they're about 90 quid, but obviously you can get them from a third party for about 70, 75.
Yeah, and I've got membership of a scheme at a third party that gives me a little extra discount as well. So that's,
there you go. So you might get them for like 60 quid, which is an absolute bargain for the amount of stuff you get in there.
That's true, I suppose. Just a bit daunting.
And then if you don't like it, just sell the sprue singularly on Fleabay.
Absolutely. I hear there's this bloke called Leon that quite likes it at the moment. I might see if he's got. I'll swap him for some land snakes.
I've got enough land snakes.
Exactly.
Oh, you want some of mine? You mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they could be on sale very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Step into my office. But there you go. All right, gents. Well, for those of you who've watched live, thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. For those of you watching on the playback, thank you again. I don't think we are. I think the intention was not to commit to doing it every X number of weeks, but just as and when we've got people available,
we'll announce it.
Things to discuss.
I mean, if the guys who watched have any idea of subjects, they can send messages, or they can send in the
on Facebook or on Discord.
In Discord, yeah, they can send, and we can talk about the subjects if there's something that they want specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Discord, we got the Facebook page, or any of our individual channels and so on. I mean, for example, this one's obviously going to be on my channel. If anybody wants to pop anything in the comments regarding it, then yeah, that would be great. If and then we'll let people know via the usual social media channels where we're going to be again and what we'll be chatting about. Excellent. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much all, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, everyone.